the village where I grew up, I didn't really, there's like nothing you can do there other than just live in your house. Maybe go on walks, but that was not a thing that I would do as a kid. I fucking hated walks. And I'm doing it right now. Look at me go.
From Sidewalk Talk, and today we're here with Lektrique. We're gonna start out with your background. I know you're from Belgium.
Yes.
Do you want to talk more about your childhood and growing up in Belgium?
I grew up in like a pretty isolated place. Not like isolated, but like
what city?
Very small village called Polada. It's like kind of middle of nowhere. It's pretty, like a lot of nature, fields.
Do you know
cows
everyone
and stuff.
in your town?
So the village where I grew up, I didn't really, there's like nothing you can do there other than just live in your house. Maybe go on walks, but that was not a thing that I would do as a kid. I fucking hated walks. And I'm doing it right now. Look at me go. No, but most of my youth I really spent in the city right next to it. That's where I used to go to school, and that's where most of my friends were as well. So that was a tiny bit bigger. We had like, I don't know, a few bars, butchers and things like that, but not like a big city in any way. So I kind of early on felt like kind of trapped in a place that was just like not changing and not growing. Like kind of time stands still there because the city is, the population is really only just the kids going to school there, like high school kids, and then seniors.
Oh, wow.
Like nothing in between. As soon as you're like college age, people will move away. So it's such a like annoying situation because anything you want to do there as a kid, old people are always hating. Yeah, calling the cops. And I used to skate out there all the time and always getting the cops called on us for just having a life.
So you're a skateboarder as well.
Yes.
How long have you been skateboarding for?
All of my life, really, since I've been 10. It's been a little tricky these days, because of COVID. I haven't been going out much. I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
But my friend Justin Krajolf, he got me a wakeboarding leash.
Leash?
Yeah, a leash that you usually attach to the boat. But we've been attaching Monkey's leash to segways and then pulling me with the skateboard. But now I got like real deal wakeboarding leash that we're going to attach to the segway. Have some fun
wow!
with that.
I want to see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking amazing.
My God.
I can't wait for him to come back because he's like my badass adrenaline junkie friend that understands.
But do all the things with you.
Yes, exactly. He's a wild person. I love him.
Did you start listening to electronic music as a kid, or when did you start getting into it?
Yeah, pretty early on. I think I must have been around 14. My brother introduced me to some techno. I used to be mostly into like minimal techno, and also the parties that I was exposed to in the area.
Belgium?
Yeah, in Belgium. There were some like really underground parties. DJs would play pretty much only vinyl and CDs back then. And it was mostly like techno oriented. Later on there was some like more dubstep-y artists as well DJing in the area, but nothing really too different from like the classic European parties. It's all very much techno and house minded. So anything beyond that, I was always into the like slightly heavier side of things. As soon as electro I became aware of electro, it really was like, I want like heavier things, and that was never really available. Then I started feeling like people are not really connecting with what I love. And then it was pretty early in that I was like, shit, I need to get out of here because people don't really vibe with the same stuff. They're like, I don't know that song, man. How do I dance to this? So
is that why you moved to Montreal?
I went to Montreal originally to study there, but that was definitely a big factor. As soon as I got there, I was like, holy shit, the music scene is huge here. Dubstep there was popping. I got exposed to so many amazing artists early in. Excision before he was, Excision.
Yeah.
He was still touring, but yeah, that was amazing. Things like Downlink and Excision and amazing people.
So how did you get started into like music producing?
My brother introduced me to FL Studio 3.0, which was a very different aesthetic than it is these days. Like the workflow has changed so much, and I kind of stuck with that. I really enjoyed how everything came together. In the beginning, it was just like many years of just experimenting with sounds, just throwing things at my computer and just trying to make sense of it, not really understanding what everything was doing, but having a lot of fun with it and being creative. And I think that's like the most important thing, And then after going to school for TV and radio, what I did in Brussels, I went to study audio-visual techniques. So it's really like personally with the focus on sound. So they would train us if you want to be like a perch man, like an audio recorder on set, or you want to work for a TV station or radio, things like that. But that was never really what I wanted. It's not on the creative side, really. You're just facilitating other people's creativity. So I missed that creative aspect. So then when I got the opportunity to go study in Montreal, which was more focused on sound design and like creative things. That's when I was like, okay, I gotta do this. Which was really hard at the time because I was still with my girlfriend, about 1 year into our relationship, and I was so in love still. And it was really difficult. We kept that relationship going for like another 2 years, long distance.
Long distance?
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably the worst mistake I ever made. Don't do it.
And how long were you producing music for before it became a full-time job for you?
I was around the time that I finished my studies in Montreal. I think that's when everything started rolling with Kannibalen, and I was kind of looking for a job in studios there, like on the side, but I didn't find anything. I wasn't actively looking. I was just like sending out emails hoping something would come up. But I was really just focusing on making as much music for Kannibalen as I could. And then things started rolling and shows started to get bigger and more people started to come. And by the time that my postgraduate work permit expired, I found myself with the dilemma. Do I go back to Belgium? Do I just try things out there? Or do I stay here? I decided to, in order to stay, I had to go study another program. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go study again so I can stay
always
here.
In school.
always learning.
What did you study?
And then I studied film and TV production in French. I was like, let's just do it in French because I had to learn French. I had some basic knowledge, but that really forced me to like, I'll never forget that first day where I was like introducing myself in English in a French class. It was really weird. I was just like the only English speaking guy in an entirely French class, and it really forced me to like absorb as much of that information. So you were just thrown
into the class?
Pretty much.
No understanding of the language.
I did get the opportunity to fill out my tests in English. Because all the questions were they taught an English and a French class.
Oh, I see.
So they didn't want to make tests like print them twice. So to preserve some paper, they just printed all the questions in both languages. So that was chill, and they allowed me to fill them out in English. So it wasn't really. That was the thing that allowed me to actually get through the class, I think. Because writing French and just speaking it, it's a completely different thing.
Oh man.
Keep in mind also that in Montreal they don't speak French, they speak Québécois, which is a challenge to
it's like a dialect?
Yeah, it's a very strong dialect.
How many languages do you speak?
3, 4-ish, if you count like some rough German.
German?
Yeah, because German is very similar to Dutch. So English, French, Dutch, some German.
Wow. And how did you end up in LA?
So after that second postgraduate work permit expired, I did have to like finally like, okay, fine, I'll leave. You want me gone? So I left Canada. I was really pissed about that. I really wanted to stay because Canada, like Montreal, is like I think still my favorite city. Just so beautiful, so much like art and love and passion everywhere in the city. You can really feel it in summer, especially when people are actually outside, because winter sucks.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So
it's always sunny here. So
yeah, that wasn't. It wasn't not a factor for moving here, but it wasn't a big one. So after moving back to Belgium for, I believe, an additional 2 or 3 years after Montreal, I was like, I need to get out of here. I felt so trapped.
Oh wow.
And like my opportunities were just dwindling because Europe, EDM wasn't really going anywhere. Electro, like heavier subgenres of electronic music, weren't really going anywhere in Europe at the time. So I worked something out with Kannibalen where they were able to take me on the Black Tiger Sex Machine tour.
Wow.
And that's how I got my own one, and that's how I'm able to be here, really.
Okay,
My O1 expired. Currently, I'm here because I'm married.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations! And how did you and Ava meet?
We met technically we met for the first time at that tour in Detroit. We were playing in Detroit and she was there for her birthday with her sister. And after the show, her sister and her came to talk. Like we were always like, after the show we go like talk to like the fans, sign some things, whatever, take pictures. Yeah. And her sister was there. I talked to her sister for a bit, and they invited me to their after party.
Oh, nice.
Because of because of Yvonne's birthday, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't go because I was too tired. Like no way. And her sister was like flirting with me. We were like talking on Instagram.
Oh, so it was a sister first.
Yes. But I never really met up with her sister. Because I was on the tour, no opportunity, and I wasn't super into her. We were just like, it's like okay, he like flirty texts, whatever.
Have you spoken to Ava at all at this point, or it was just?
No, I hadn't even talking to her, and I started talking to Monkey on Instagram. Monkey is the player, Monkey.
Monkey is their dog, for reference, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, so Monkey Maxim is Instagram. And I just started talking to him because he's fucking amazing, you know what he looks like. It's ridiculous. And then somehow I started like talking to Ava, and she at some point mentioned that she was going to be in Phoenix at the same time. So we were there together. Black Tiger Sex Machine was playing. I wasn't on the lineup, but that's great. So that way I had more time to like hang out with her. She was there tour managing for Jerry Gonza, and that was like our first date, and it was so romantic. We like kissed in the rain. It was like some notebook shit. It
was literally like some like book, like straight from the movie.
It was super romantic, and I mean it was difficult at the time because I was still traveling so much, and we weren't really gonna see each other. So we looked for opportunities to meet up again, and she had another opportunity to be in Brooklyn at the same time as I was there for shows. We met up again, and then we set up a date where I was gonna go to Denver because I was playing a show there at Beta at the time. So we decided to go there together. We booked an Airbnb, and it was just like so much love. I hadn't felt so like aggressively like butterflies in, I couldn't remember the last time, really.
That's so cute.
So I really knew that I had to pursue this relationship. So then I just asked if she wanted to come visit in Los Angeles, like stay with me for a while. And then she just ended up staying forever. That's really what happened. Yeah, and then here we are today.
Because of Monkey, it led to...
What a pimp.
What you guys are today.
Yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
It varies a lot. I get a lot of inspiration from film. It's like specific scenes, like emotional connections. I love like cinematic music and it's like soundscapes, things like that. So I draw a lot of inspiration from movies like Blade Runners, like synthwavey, retrowave, aesthetic, cyberpunk.
You like Vaporwave?
Yes.
Okay.
Vaporwave as well. That kind of like overlaps. Vaporwave is a bit more flashy and like, what's the word? Like pop culture in a way.
Got it.
But synthwave is like the dark, gloomy side of that. It's like more rain, outrun, cyberpunk essentially, like aesthetic a little bit more.
And is
of
that
Vaporwave.
Is that how you got your name, or what did the name
No,
Lektrique come from?
my name originally was inspired by a producer or a DJ in Belgium.
Oh.
I've had my name for a stupid long time. My first name was DJ Veeling for like a year, and it's like, no, that ain't it. This is really bad. I only played one show with that name. Let's not do that again.
That's
so
funny.
Then I changed that to Lektrique, and at first I spelled it with a K at the end instead of the Q-U-E, and for some reason I was like, nah, that's too boring, let's add a French touch to this. And that's kind of funny because French touch is like a subgenre of electronic music. It's very like inspired by Kannibalen Records, a lot of French producers.
Yeah.
So French electronic music, and that does come to play a lot into my sounds that I make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted that to be like a more interesting part of my name, but then again, I ended up sort of regretting that because it makes it impossible for anyone to like type it out. Like communicating this like word of mouth is so impractical. But I ended up sticking with it because it's different.
Yeah. You were in the Oculus game too, right?
Yes, that was
How was that?
like, it was like a dream come true.
How did that happen?
Well, Cloudhead Games, the developer of Pistol Whip, they reached out. They were looking for like a label with a good package of music that was within the aesthetic that they were going for, which is like, yeah, someone in that like retrowave, synthwave, but still like hard gamey music. So Kannibalen ended up exactly being that aesthetic that they were looking for. So they ended up buying like a pretty big bundle of the discography on Kannibalen.
Oh wow.
And licensed it for the game.
Yeah.
And then there was like 2 or 3 of my songs in there.
Wow. What else would you say would be a dream of yours? Because you said Oculus is a dream of yours.
Well, having my music featured in a video game was definitely, yeah. And it's specifically like what this ended up becoming was like beyond what I had hoped for, because I was always thinking like, a video game that you play on PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like such an immersive experience that it's like they created a world around the song that I wrote.
Oh,
and
wow.
and it's the cool thing is it's so similar to what I had in mind, like while I was writing it. Like they got it so right.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
That's amazing. That's definitely a big accomplishment for sure.
For them, yeah. For me as well, I suppose, but for me it's just luck.
I see. Yeah, I think it's talent. I mean, I was listening to you play music last week, and I was just like, or produce music, and it was really good.
Thank you.
And then you were also a podcast host?
Yes, I've been doing the Kannibalen Radio for the last 7 years. Yeah, so every 2 weeks we release a podcast, about 45 minutes to an hour long, featuring a guest of our choosing, usually an upcoming producer within the like Kannibalen aesthetic, like heavier bass music, but not exclusively. We've had some houseier, like drum and bass as well.
Oh, okay.
So we like to switch it up. I don't like to be too predictable.
Yeah.
But still, it's all music that I would play live.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's music that you curate and then you introduce to the podcast.
So I do the first 15 minutes. I usually show off like new projects from the record label and just also new music that I find and enjoy. But then we will also have the guest after that, after the first 15 minutes, and usually that's like a showcase of their new material as well.
What are some of the challenges that you faced in your music career?
Definitely getting out of Belgium. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I hate the country or anything. It's a beautiful place. It's just there's not as many opportunities for the music that I'm making over there. It used to be like fucking electro utopia for a good period from like 2009, 2012, 2013. It was great. Yeah. But that was the time that I was in Montreal. So by the time that I got back, all of that was kind of over, and it faded so quickly. And I'm pretty sure that it was as a result of like big room EDM being like the super washed out, inspireless, mainstream version of EDM, and everybody got so sick of it so quickly that it just killed everyone's boner for electro.
Okay, so I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
Tomorrowland, yes or no, and why? Like thoughts on that? Because I feel like it's very like mainstream.
It is, but it's not exclusively mainstream. Tomorrowland does have a lot to offer than just the main stage. You know, there's like 15 stages there. It's huge. So there's something there for everyone. So for that reason, I would definitely say totally yes. Especially if you have the money to throw at it. It's a great experience. It's a beautiful festival. Then again, there's a commercial side to it, but it's okay. You know, I understand they need to make their money.
Yeah.
I don't like how far they're pushing that, but nothing's perfect.
Yeah. No, when I went, I felt like it was very well produced. It was like streamlined. Like details were thought out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're really trying to like push the festival experience as far as they can. Like they're having like, barbers and bakeries and everything on the campgrounds. They're like, how much can we make this into like a micro society as possible?
Yeah.
So
like Coachella.
Yeah, that's what they're going for.
So what would you say is your favorite event? Or
like
festival?
Festival?
Any?
That's difficult. I think Electric Forest, definitely.
Ava also said the same thing.
It's ridiculous. It's like the ultimate festival. It's so... The atmosphere there is nothing like anything I've ever felt. It's like so much passion and work goes into it. It's like the non-commercial version of Tomorrowland. Yeah, it's like way more artsy and heartfelt. Yeah, it's when you walk through the forest and you see the amount of art installations that are installed throughout the entire forest. It gives you this feeling of like, wow, so much love and passion goes into this, and it's like heaven for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just walking around and like
seeing it.
An unreal experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's always something happening. It's not like it's just chilling there. There's like
something
people walking around that are interacting with it. There's artists that are performing throughout the entire forest, and that's apart from like the actual stages that are putting on the bigger acts. Yeah.
Have you been to Berlin for the techno?
Yes, I've visited Berlin twice, but I was too young. I haven't really been to any of the legendary clubs.
Yeah.
But I hear it's amazing. I'm not as much of a techno head. I can enjoy it for a while. Like I've been to a lot of techno parties in Belgium, but after like 5 hours, I'm like, okay, I've heard it.
That's a long time of partying though.
Yeah.
5 hours of techno.
People in Belgium and in Europe in general, they don't really stop. It's just
it goes to the morning.
Yeah, they go to the afternoon.
Okay.
It starts at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then they're there till like noon when it starts to close. Yes, it's a completely different. What's the word? It's completely
world.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah.
It's like a different experience of nightlife, really. When the club doesn't have to close, you know, you just keep going. Yeah.
Wow. Do you think your European background has influenced your music a lot? Or?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially when I mentioned French touch, that's been a huge defining factor of my sound and in my inspiration. Electro is very largely French dominated. If you think about like Daft Punk and what are they called? Kraftwerk. It's German though. But yeah, it's all like European founders that really are a big inspiration of my direction and my sound still today as well.
Oh yeah. Wow. What are some upcoming projects that you're working on?
Well, I've been working on a new project, like a new alias for the last year or so. So I can't really talk about that. I've been working on a new alias, but I can't really go into depth as like everything is still very under wraps and I can't reveal.
It's a secret, stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely in the upcoming year we will be revealing this. I don't think we're gonna make it clear that it's me though, so.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So there's no specific date, nothing to look out for?
No, it might never happen.
All right, I mean.
A lot of questions.
That's exciting still though.
Yeah,
I mean, something's upcoming in the works.
It's like a passion project of mine. It feels a lot more heartfelt and present to me than my current Lektrique stuff does. Like Lektrique, I've been doing it for, like I said, for like 15 years. So it's kind of like I enjoy that aspect of my personality and my creativity, but it also feels like I've grown past that. So I needed to express myself in a new way that kind of goes beyond that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, even though my Lektrique project is extremely versatile and flexible, I can't push it beyond like a certain point. You know, it becomes harder and harder for my audience to really grasp and understand, but it sounds like if you keep changing it.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, it's time that we do something that stands on its own, that's defined, and it's been an absolute amazing experience to create this.
Yeah.
I've been loving every day of it.
And I have one last question for you. What do you want to be remembered for?
That's difficult because like there's so many aspects. I think I just want to be remembered for being helpful and being caring and like genuine. I kind of have this cringe that I feel when I interact with people that are not genuine, that are like really pretentious and trying to just be someone that they're not.
Yeah.
So in the last year, since COVID really, I've shifted my focus to more of a educator side of a career. So I've started teaching people one-on-one on Zoom.
Oh wow.
And I'm starting to put together a masterclass right now. It's coming together nicely actually. It should be available.
Upcoming
in the
project.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It should be available in the next month or so. We're gonna start revealing the first classes. So this is like a full-fledged masterclass for anyone that's interested in learning about music production, or even just thinking about it, like getting started. Like all of that is included. So yeah, I really love helping people. I love like reaching out and helping people grow. So that would be like I think my favorite thing to be recognized and remembered as.
What's the one thing you struggled with learning producing?
I think the most difficult thing was separating the production process. I was trying to do everything at the same time, like produce, like compose, mix, master, kind of all at the same time. And it's like you're using different parts of your brain and they're kind of like stepping on each other. So separating it makes it a much more efficient workflow.
Yeah.
So that was something that I struggled with because I got crazy ADHD. So it's very hard for me to like concentrate on something. So as soon as I'm like, oh, this needs to sound like different, like I just need to put an EQ on this, so I'll just like get sidetracked and I'll lose my production flow. And then once you're out of that state of creative flow, it's very hard to get back into that and to start writing
It's like
again.
back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some of your favorite up and coming artists?
Oh boy. Because he has a very similar aesthetic and mindset and like energy. I've been loving Midnight Cult. I have a song with him, the Full Throttle one, the one that's on Pistol Whip actually.
Oh.
So I've been loving everything he's been making. He used to go by Michael White, but changed his name to Midnight Cult. Other than that, Jackknife from Australia, he just keeps making amazing song after amazing song. There's a guy called ISO. I think he lives in California.
ISO?
Yeah, ISO. I've been loving what he's doing too.
Oh, cool. And what's one thing you wish you knew earlier?
Well, a lot of things really, but I would probably say the like production workflow thing. That was something that took me a long time to figure it out, because I didn't think it was like that big of a deal. I was like trying to like ignore it and overcome it by just being fast enough. So yeah, like knowing certain things about songwriting that just took me a long time to figure out by myself. But then also just how to, like the knowledge required to understand mastering fully and to really manipulate your music dynamically and color it the way that you want. I wish I would have known that much earlier, because it just took me like years and years of experimentation to like grasp it myself. So I wish I would have had someone like myself that's teaching this stuff right now, so I could just learn it in like a week.
So past you needed a future you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really mainly why I'm doing this, because I feel like it's so needed. People, like, this information is, yes, it's online, but it's so scattered and not like chronologically available anywhere. So I feel like people really need that structure and that information to master these things.
What else are you doing besides the Masterclass?
So I've been teaching people one-on-one a lot in the last year, really, since COVID hit. I started really just asking people if they were interested, and then I started creating these presentations where where I'd be able to just go through the information much more efficiently, and so people can like really understand what's going on with like visual references, things like that. So I've been doing one-on-ones through Zoom. If ever anyone's interested to schedule one, you just hit me up on Instagram.
Nice. Just slide in your DMs.
Into my DMs. Or I made an email for it, which is Professor Lektrique at Gmail.
I love that.
At Gmail? Yeah, at gmail.com.
Why did you have to quote it like Professor?
Because I thought it was kind of funny. It was my wife's idea.
That's amazing. Where do you get your fashion sense from?
It's really a lot like Vaporwave, cyberpunk inspired, definitely. Yeah. So I've been loving that whole anime, vaporwave, cyberpunk, retro wave aesthetic, and then it's been really just like exploring brands and seeing if they have things like that. Like the shoes that I'm wearing are like Akira inspired, so that's like anime.
Okay, and one last question. Where do you think? Sorry, we're just like going through obstacles right now. What do you think the next trend of EDM will be?
Well, it's so difficult to predict because it's always shifting so rapidly. I've been seeing a lot of people do like fast house, like turbo house is what I call it. Turbo house. Speed house, yeah. A lot of people doing that. So I see a growing appeal, but also like collaborate, like morphing that with like a dance aesthetic, like a dance music, like very 90s approach. I see that gaining some popularity. But actually I'm gonna say breakbeat.
Breakbeat?
Yeah, breakbeat is highly underrated, and it's just the sweetest flavor to throw in any kind of music. Just like it adds this interesting aspect of like fresh grooviness that I think not enough people have been doing. I think is going to gain more interest as we go.
Good to know. Thank you for jumping on with us on Sidewalk Talk.
Of course. And thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.